Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DC News Now. It was a quiet day across the DMV, low-lying clouds, but now clearing. It's starting to take shape. And as we go into your Friday, we're looking forward to more sunshine and comfortable temperatures. Hey, I have your full forecast coming up. Stay with us.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
More than 7 decades in power, a life well lived. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II passing peacefully with family by her side today. The longest reigning monarch in history comes to an end tonight. But her impact on the world lives on as a new era begins on the throne.
I was shocked and stunned and instantly was hit with a pit in my stomach.
On leave and arrested, a Virginia principal off the job hit with DWI charges. We're live with how parents are taking the news.
Plus, a D.C. woman is pushing for new protections on a well-traveled bridge after her partner took his life there last year. We're live with how a community is coming together to prevent future tragedies.
Good evening, D.C., and thank you so much for joining us tonight at 9 on D.C. News Now. I'm Tasmin Mahfouz.
Good evening. I'm Chris Flanagan. We begin with breaking news tonight. Uvalde, Texas, investigating a shooting right now with injuries. This just months after a mass shooting at an elementary school there. Our sister station there reports it happened at the city's Uvalde Memorial Park, which is downtown. A crew is headed to the scene right now. Yeah, so we are learning that Roland Gutierrez, a Texas state senator, says between 2 and 6 people are shot. Officials say it could be gang-related, and of course, we will continue to keep you updated as we learn more. Meanwhile, a world in mourning tonight. Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's longest reigning monarch, has died after 70 years on the throne. She was 96 years old. Taking a live look right now, this is outside of London's Buckingham Palace. All quiet right now. A rainbow said to have appeared over the royal residence just hours after the Queen's passing. And this here, one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of London. Crowds gathering outside St. Paul's Cathedral today. The building a centerpiece for key cultural events, including the Queen's Jubilee celebration and Prince Charles and Princess Diana's royal wedding. And
Buckingham Palace says Queen Elizabeth died at Balmoral Castle. That's her summer residence in Scotland. And members of the royal family, they were by her side.
Elizabeth spent 7 decades devoting herself to a life of public service. Tonight, a look back at her long and eventful life. Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, not exactly born to be queen, at least not at birth back in 1926. But her uncle's abdication passed the crown to her father, and after his death, Elizabeth ascended to the throne at just 25 years old. It was the first televised coronation seen around the world in 1952, putting the new queen inside people's homes like no one before her. Her husband, Philip, kneeling before her only years earlier at her side for their wedding. Four children together, the first a future king.
And here's really wonderful fairy tale sight. And as they come to Her Majesty the Queen, they will turn. Prince of Wales will bow. Princess of Wales.
Prince Charles and his first wife, another mother to a future king. Princess Diana's tragic death, marking a defining moment in Queen Elizabeth's reign as she addressed a grieving world.
So what I say to you now, as your queen and as a grandmother, I say from my heart.
Queen Elizabeth, a fixture on the world stage, meeting nearly every American president since Harry Truman, dancing with Ford, riding horses with Reagan, watching baseball with Bush.
This is a kick for the fans.
The Queen kicking off the London Olympics in 2012, making 007 himself exercise a little royal patience.
Good evening, Sir.
The longest-serving British monarch ever, marking milestone after milestone.
It has touched me deeply to see so many thousands of families, neighbors and friends celebrating together.
A diamond jubilee marking her 60th year on the throne.
even a massive party for her 90th birthday in 2016. Her Majesty, Elizabeth II, remembered tonight for a life of service to her country.
And our cameras were rolling as President Biden paid a visit to the British Embassy in D.C. this afternoon. First Lady Dr. Jill Biden joined him, bringing flowers with her. And the president could be overheard telling embassy staff, "We mourn for all of you. She was a great lady."
Yeah, Brits around the DMV reacting to the death of Queen Elizabeth II tonight. Many we spoke to saddened, of course, by the news.
And Dave Laval is at a popular British pub where people have gathered tonight to remember her life. And Dave, we imagine a lot of people are raising a pint in honor of the Queen tonight.
Well, Tusmeen Chris can tell you that right now at the Queen Vic British Pub, it's a pretty festive atmosphere. However, earlier this evening, definitely many people inside, a little bit of a somber as they came and watched the news from back home in Great Britain from BBC about what's going on and following the details regarding the death of Queen Elizabeth II. As you heard just a moment ago, the nation's longest running monarch, 70 years on the throne, celebrated earlier this year. We spoke with several British citizens and also American citizens, or who are now American citizens. We also spoke with the one of the owners of the Queen Vic Pub. It turns out that his wife is from Great Britain, and he's going to talk about how his wife is dealing with all of this and how they have an interesting connection to how they're going to stay up to date with all the news regarding the Queen's funeral and the coronation of the new king. We will talk about that coming up at 10 o'clock. Live in Northeast, Dave Laval, DC News Now.
Dave, thanks. Meanwhile, the Queen certainly left her mark here locally. The DMV welcomed her many times throughout her life, maintaining an alliance with the U.S. time and time again. Our Ben Dennis revisits some of those moments.
Queen Elizabeth stamped her name on the DMV's history over the course of several decades, maintaining an alliance with the United States time and time again.
From one graceful visit to another,
Queen Elizabeth and her consort, Prince Philip.
A monarch left her mark on local history. Queen Elizabeth II visiting Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. throughout her 7-decade reign. In 1951, then Princess Elizabeth joined President Harry Truman in his limo at Washington National Airport. In 1956, Queen Elizabeth and husband Prince Philip attended a University of Maryland football game. Reportedly 43,000 people there. Maryland beat UNC. At 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, the Queen danced with President Gerald Ford during her 1976 visit for the U.S. bicentennial. She also shared many engagements and state dinners with American presidents. 14 have been in the Oval Office since she became queen. A consistent, witty humor directed at commanders-in-chief. Here's a quip about dreary weather at the Reagan Ranch.
I knew before we came that we had exported many of our traditions to the United States. But I had not realized before that weather was one of them.
In 2007, she visited Richmond to commemorate the first permanent English settlement at Jamestown, meeting with then Virginia Governor Tim Kaine before addressing the General Assembly. A figure of European leadership to be remembered by those across the world and here at home.
She's been a presence for nearly 14 American presidents. So there's also that sense of familiarity with Queen Elizabeth II. She left, a very significant mark for relations between the United States and the UK.
And in a statement now, U.S. Senator Tim Kaine says, "I mourn with the people of the United Kingdom today," also acknowledging her kindness shown when families were grieving about the Virginia Tech shooting. And Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin called the Queen a transcendent leader, saying her consistent tenderness for the Commonwealth and Virginians will never be forgotten. Up north in Maryland, Governor Larry Hogan says the Queen took great care over the last 7 decades to deepen the meaning of the special relationship between the United States and Great Britain. Moments in time that captured the Queen's charm here in the U.S. as many here at home remember the British royal figure as a global icon. Ben Dennis, DC News Now, back to you.
And based on the line of succession, Queen Elizabeth's oldest son, now King Charles, is expected to be coronated as the next monarch. In that line, Charles is followed by his eldest son, Prince William, William's 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, follow down the line. Second son, Prince Harry of Charles, King Charles, is 6th in line to the throne. And of course, we will have continuing coverage of the Queen's passing. More on her life coming up in our next half hour.
And all new tonight, a principal at a Fairfax County elementary school now on leave. He's accused of driving into a home while under the influence, then leaving the scene. Max Marcilla covers Northern Virginia for us, joins us live tonight from Navy Elementary School in Fairfax. And Max, Jonathan Cook was found a short while later, then arrested.
That's right, and right now he's being held in Loudoun County on 2 charges. The first is a felony count of failing to stop after an accident. The second is a misdemeanor for his first DWI. He also faced a civil violation for refusing a breathalyzer. Now, his future, well, that's still uncertain, both legal and with the school. But what is certain is that it could have been a lot worse. This slight incline on the bottom of a hill in this Loudoun County neighborhood might have helped stop even worse damage to the home involved in a suspected DUI crash. We spoke with the homeowner of this house near the corner of Winning Glory Drive and Seven Hills Drive. He didn't want to go on camera, but he said this accident was very unfortunate. It happened around 2:30 in the afternoon last Friday. Important to note, Fairfax County schools were off for Labor Day, and luckily no one was hurt. A neighbor says a license plate left behind helped police find Jonathan Cook shortly after the crash.
I was shocked and stunned and instantly was hit with a pit in my stomach and really, really sad.
Kia Taylor Barker sent all 3 of her kids to Navy Elementary and has formed a relationship with Cook.
Good people make mistakes. And good people make bad decisions.
While she waits for the legal process to play out and ultimately the county school's decision, she is rallying support from fellow parents for Cook.
We'd love to have him back as a principal at Navy, but if that doesn't happen, we want to know that he's going to be okay. And we care about him as a person the same way that he cares about us and the community and the children.
Recently, Fairfax County has been criticized for its handling of a completely separate incident at Glasgow Middle School, where a counselor accused of soliciting a minor kept his job even after a conviction. The communications breakdown in that instance didn't appear to happen here. The charges were filed on Friday in Loudoun County, and by the first day back from Labor Day weekend, parents received an email from the school division. And in our conversation, Taylor Barker described a PTO meeting she went to actually last night as a somber one. She said there were other leaders from the school community there, and their message was, look, this incident will play itself out. Right now, we really don't have all the answers that are required to kind of keep everyone in the loop. But again, the latest we know is Cook is still facing those charges, and we'll have the latest as it develops. Reporting live from Fairfax County, Max Marcilla, DC News Now.
Max, thank you. All right, when it comes to the forecast, you might say we're saving the best for last.
Yeah, we definitely are. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Janessa Webb. And Janessa, Friday looks spectacular.
Yeah, it's never about the start. It's about what?
The finish.
The finish. And we finish off the week with a good amount of sun-filled skies across the DMV. Drier air that is settling in right now. And as you step outside tonight and tomorrow morning, the clearing will continue to happen. Now, on our current radar, you're seeing just a few isolated green raindrops. That's in the upper atmosphere above 1,000 feet. So nothing is hitting the ground right now. Dry weather. The clouds are very limited across west to east. It's an ideal night across the DMV. And I just stepped out there. Temperatures are very much on the comfortable side. Nice breathable air with low humidity. It's not just us. It's across 2/3 of the nation, actually, from Chicago all the way down to the Carolinas. With that front, it has crossed us, and that coastal low is no longer spinning out in the Atlantic, and things are continuing to dry out. Now, temperatures across the area comfortable, as I said, 74 for the suburbs of the district. Manassas, hey, good evening, 66, 72 for Baltimore. Hagerstown, you are finally drying out, 71 at this hour. Now, the National Weather Service has issued a coastal flood advisory. It's not because we're thinking of any moisture entering our area. We do have our second hurricane of the season, and some of that high surf along with tidal flow will start to make its way across our area. We'll discuss that coming up, guys.
And tonight, a D.C. woman is pushing for new protections on the William Howard Taft Bridge after her partner took his life there last year. Marielle Carbone is live at that bridge, and Marielle, she's now gained the support of 2 advisory neighborhood commissions to install suicide prevention barriers on that bridge.
She has. You know, those barriers would essentially make the railings here on the side of the bridge taller, more like a fence, making it more difficult for people to get over them. Now, she believes if those were in place last year that her partner might still be here. Now, Dr. Peter Tripp was just 29 years old when he took his own life by jumping off the Taft Bridge. He was a veterinarian, and his partner, Chelsea Van Thoft, describes him as witty and compassionate. Now, she believes his death was preventable. In fact, the Ellington Bridge, which runs virtually parallel to the Taft Bridge, has those suicide prevention barriers on it. Those went up in the late 80s after a string of people died by suicide there. The Taft Bridge was also supposed to get the barriers as well, but after some pushback from people in the community, they were never added, and that is a fact that haunts Van Thoft.
I think a small part of me feels like I'll get a part of Peter back by doing this, by paying it forward, by helping other people. I want them to know there's other options, and it is an impulse. If that bridge had had a barrier, Peter would still be here. It cuts through the impulse.
Now, 2 advisory neighborhood commissions on either side of the bridge have passed resolutions supporting the barriers. Most recently, one of those boards passed its resolution last night, which Van Thoft says is encouraging, but it doesn't mean that it is a done deal. This still needs to go to City Council for District Council approval, and then there are some various historic commissions that it needs to go through and be reviewed as well. And one of the commissioners from one of those advisory groups actually says that that is where it lost traction back in the 80s for this specific bridge. Reporting live in the district tonight, I'm Marielle Carbone, DC News Now.